Hey, travelers! This latest video is going to explain some of the changes that are going to be happening on October the 6th on Mileage Plus, the United's Mileage Plus program, which you can probably see in some of my other videos, is my favorite program. And I highly suggest anybody who wants to travel for free or for real cheap join the Mileage Plus program because it has the most flexible options. You can definitely find routing that you couldn't find with all the other airlines and all the other alliances you will be able to find with United. So let's get started. I'm going to just quickly go over some of the changes that are happening with the Mileage Plus program, which will happen on October the 6th. So if you like the old way of doing things with United better than the new way, then you might want to book your ticket before October the 6th, because once October the 6th comes around, you won't have any choice. You're going to have to use the new system. So basically here there are two main changes. One of them is going to be the stopover situation with award miles, with award flights. And before you were able to do a stopover, if you were flying from one region to another region, usually that means you'd be flying internationally. And if you booked a round trip ticket, you're able to fly from one region to another, in other words, internationally. And then when you fly there, you could do a stopover in that region that you're flying to, and that would be free. So you could do a stopover, for example, let's say you're leaving from New York City and you're traveling to, this is something I've actually done, not actually New York City, but if you're traveling from New York City to Thailand, for example, to Bangkok in Thailand, you can fly from New York to Bangkok on a free award flight. On an award flight using miles. And then you could fly from Bangkok to Kuala Lumpur, for example, and that would be your free stopover. So you would be able to get that flight for free without using any miles. And then you would be able to fly from Kuala Lumpur back to New York or back to some other city in the United States. And that would all be considered one international award ticket. So you'd be getting a free stopover in that case. So this is really what's changing. I'm going to go through the changes quickly. And so here are some videos or some pictures of what the current award system, or actually the award system, is going to look like in October the 6th. So they're going through the steps on how to book your award. And I'm going to go through some of the changes that are happening. So what's basically happening is that they're dropping the stopovers. There's no longer going to be anything called a stopover. But they're still going to allow stopovers, except now they're calling it the excursionist perk. So let me just quickly go through what an excursionist perk is. This is the best way to show what it is. So here's the itinerary that they're showing: ORD to LHR, which is Chicago's O'Hare, to Heathrow in London. And currently it's 30,000 miles to get there one way. So with the new system, it's still going to be 30,000 miles to get there one way. And then your next itinerary stop would be LHR, which is Heathrow in London, to CDG, which is Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris. And that would be your stopover. So as you can see in the current system, it's just showing 30,000 for both that and the CDG to ORD, which is Charles de Gaulle back to O'Hare in Chicago. So in other words, the total would be 60,000. The new system is going to be 30,000 for the first leg, and then the second leg is actually going to be priced at 0. And then your third leg from Charles de Gaulle to Chicago, from Paris to Chicago, will be 30,000. So it's actually the same number of points as it was before. You have the same itinerary as before. It's just a little bit more clear of what the costs are, because they don't just group these two together for 30,000. You actually have a price of 0 for this leg and a 30,000 price for the final leg. Here's another example where they were saying that you cannot actually book this on United.com. You'd have to phone them and call one of their customer service people, reservations agent, and book this through the telephone, in which case they probably are going to ask you to pay an extra fee for that. So they actually prefer, they might waive that fee, who knows, but you'd have to ask them to waive it. But now it's going to be something you can book for yourself on their website. So here's the example that they're given. Mexico, that's the Mexico City Airport, to EWR, which is the Newark, near New York City Airport in New Jersey. And that is a $17,500 point award. And then, so since that's international, Mexico is outside of the North America region. It's considered, as for their purposes, it's considered Central South America. So that would be their international flight. And then once you have an international flight, you can do a free stopover. So here would be your free stopover. Free stopover would be from Newark to LAS, being Las Vegas. So you can fly to Las Vegas for free, a cost of 0. And then once you're in Las Vegas, you're flying off to San Diego. This flight would be 12,500 miles. It's still 12,500 miles. And you'd end up in San Diego. And then your final flight or final leg for this trip would be San Diego back to Mexico City. And that's, again, the 17,500 miles. So basically, it's going to cost you 47,500 miles for this booking, and you would be getting one of the legs for free because it falls within their stopover policy, which means you'd have to start off in one region, go to a different region, and then you do a leg within the new region. That would be free, and then you can do, this is a new leg, and then your final return to the destination. So technically, you can actually fly LAS to MEX if there is a non-stop direct flight, and you wouldn't need to spend the 12,500 from LAS to SAN to San Diego. So that's pretty neat that you can book this yourself online instead of calling an agent. So that's really the biggest benefit of this change, is that you don't have to call an agent to book this routing. It's more or less not much has changed except that. And they talk about some of the other changes in the booking structure. Of course, this is all going to happen as of October the 6th. So right now you're not going to see any changes. But for example, they are now giving you options to choose. Here it is, a connection city. So if you want to find a connection city that you prefer to use, you can ask for that city in the preferred connections. And there's also an option in here that says connections to avoid. So you can actually ask for cities that you don't want to use. So for example, if you don't like to travel through Chicago, Chicago is a really busy airport. It might be difficult to, or maybe it's an airport that has a lot of delays or a lot of cancellations or something, and you don't want to have to deal with that. You prefer to have an airport that won't have delays, it won't have cancellations, it isn't as crowded. So you can actually say, okay, I don't want to fly through ORD on the connections to avoid, which probably will give you other alternatives, but then unfortunately ORD is the main hub for United in the United States. So you might be missing out on some really good routes, but you know, if that's what your choice is, this is a great way to eliminate a particular stopover. So that's great. This is a nice thing to have. You can put whatever connections you like to go to and avoid certain connections that you do not want to go to. Also, you can choose the cabin type. Before, they were just presenting you with all the different options, all the different cabin types. Now you can actually ask for economy or business or first class. So that's pretty cool also. You can also further refine your results. So here's options that you can choose. You can ask for Wi-Fi, power outlets, DirecTV, red-eye flights, risky connections, terminal changes, long layovers, airport changes. I guess right now you just get all these options, so you can actually take some of them off and tell them, oh no, I don't want to do a long layover, or I don't want to do an airport change. So there's a lot of flights that I used to get, for example, to Tokyo, where you fly into one airport and then your outbound flight is from another one, like Narita. You might fly into Narita and fly out of, I forget the name of the other airport, but there's another airport. And you actually have to get some kind of land transportation between the airports to make that connection. So that's another thing you can actually take off the check mark here, and you don't want to change airports. So that's a nice little change that they gave us. And besides that, not much else has changed. So that's basically what's going on with the award booking. The other change that's happened is the fees. And here is a neat little table that's going on. When you book an award ticket and you need to make a change to that ticket, there are fees. Fees to change the ticket, change the itinerary. Any change is going to be a fee. Even if you just change, I believe even if you change just the time of the flight and all the other cities are the same, I still think there's going to be a fee. For sure there's going to be a fee if you're changing cities, and for sure there's going to be a fee if you're going to try to redeposit the miles. So here is the schedule of fees. It depends on what elite member you are. If you're just a general member like most of us, it will cost you $75 to make a change or redeposit your miles if you are traveling 61 or more days from now or prior to the original departure date. And that's a long ways, and I think most people are going to see the other one, like they're going to see the 60 days, because most people's schedules don't change that far ahead. But if it's 61 days or more, this is what the schedule will be, or the fees will be. If you're a 1K, it won't cost you anything. If you're a Premier Platinum, it won't cost you anything. If you're Premier Gold, it's going to cost you $25. If you're Premier Silver, it's going to cost you $50. If you're just a general member, it's going to cost you $75. But here's more reality stuff. When it's 60 days or less prior to your original departure date, again, for the 1K, it won't cost you anything. For your Premier Platinum, it's going to be $50. For a Premier Gold, it's going to be $75. For Premier Silver, $100. And for general members, it's going to be $125, which is actually a beneficial thing. It's a positive thing, because here is the chart and what it looks like today. So actually, that will take effect again, as well as the other changes that I mentioned earlier, on the 6th of October. So today, this is what the table looks like. So if you're a general member and you want to make a change to recredit your miles, it costs $200. So they're actually going to have a savings of $75. So that's pretty nice. If your plans aren't 100% sure and you just want to book your award travel and you're not positive about traveling, right now it'll cost you $200 to change that. If you want to change the flight or redeposit the miles, it will cost you $200. but as of the 6th of October, it goes down to $125 for that exact same change. If you want to just simply change your award travel, and it's 21 days prior to the date of travel, you're not changing the destination or the origin. So in other words, you might just be changing the dates, and it's more than 3 weeks from that departure date. It's only $75 for that right now. So for that kind of thing, you might want to make your changes before the 6th of October, because that's going to be going up. If you want to make that change after the 6th of October, I believe it's going to be the $125 to make any change or cancel or redeposit the points. It's going to cost $125. So that is actually going to be worse. And here is the other one. If it's going to be less than 21 days prior to the date of departure of travel, and you want to change the dates, and you're changing the origin or the destination also, it's costing you $100 now, and after the 6th of October, it will cost you $125. So the biggest benefit now is the redeposit. If you want to redeposit your points, it's going to cost you $200 today. It's going to go down to $125 as of October the 5th. All these other changes for a general member are actually cheaper now. So just keep that in mind. You might want to do your plans accordingly, because some of these changes are going to be more expensive after the 6th, and some of these changes are going to be cheaper. Actually, the only change that's going to be cheaper after the 6th is the canceling your trip and redepositing the miles. So that is what United has in store for us in October. There's another thing that they mentioned here is that they're going to show the fees in your local currency, which I'm not sure how they can determine what your local currency is, if it's by where you live when you log in, or by where you are at the present time, because I travel all around the world, and I probably don't want to see the fees in the currency of the place I'm at. I want to see the currencies in the US dollar. So I'm not sure how that's going to work, but that's another change that United is going to be implementing. Anyways, hopefully this information is going to help you out. I'm going to put links to all of the 3 pages that you saw in this video in the description of the video, and you can check it out yourself. And I hope this information has helped you out, and if it did, hopefully you can give me a thumbs up, or you can subscribe, share, or comment, and I would appreciate it, and I will give you a quick response to any comments or questions that you have. Hopefully we'll see you soon on another flight, and we'll see you again.